Nairobi by Ahmed Maawy, Product Manager at Datadyne Group. Ahmed, thank you very much for joining us. According, as I've just mentioned, to the International Telecommunication Union, the cost of the ICT price basket represents 41% of Africa's monthly average income. We are paying a high price in Africa. Why are telecommunication costs so high?
Actually, in my opinion, there's a lot of taxation, especially when you talk about, you see, ICT is something that should be subsidized from both policy and also other key players in the industry to make sure that it grows. I think there is no proper regulatory framework that is going to allow ICT industries to actually get subsidization and get operations and get their operations actually running cheaper.
Which brings us to governance issues then. How can African governments contribute in lowering costs in Africa?
You see, other governments abroad actually do participate in research and development programs. They do participate in bringing down the cost of ICT services by lowering taxes, by subsidizing certain activities that are related to ICT, by supporting programs, by funding them. And that actually, they do understand that ICT is a very major part of economic development in that country. So they do put a lot of effort into trying to make sure that such services are actually cheaper to the end user.
However, Ahmed, returns for African operators are one of the highest in Africa, though.
Yes, they are. And this is something that I think should be looked into, because telecommunications is such a vital service. Not only telecommunications, but also internet services is very vital for every economy that is looking at developing its full potential from IT services. Internet is, to me, a very important service for the economic development.
Let's look at accessibility. According to the ITU, in Africa, there's only one fixed broadband subscriber for every 1,000 inhabitants. Now, when you compare that with Europe, there's 200 subscribers in Europe per 1,000 people. How can Africa even begin to close that gap?
Closing that gap, actually, we should try and look at initiatives that will bring this, the services that are offered by information technology to a broader base of people who, for example, are not privileged to actually access these services. At the same time,
but then, Ahmed, how do we do that?
In my opinion, agencies such as the government and other stakeholders and other players in the market should actually put extra effort in making sure that they do give this initiative enough funding, and they do actually look at ways of getting this technology and roll out to people who need to use it actually to a broader capacity.
Ahmed, the government's key role is to facilitate and to create an environment that's conducive. In terms of funding, though, that's another issue altogether. But with that said, how much opportunity is there to grow mobile data, which has been identified as being key to bridging this gap?
Actually, in my opinion, mobile data is growing very fast in Africa, and there are a number of players who are trying to invest in the mobile phone industries because they've seen the potential. And it is very key, especially in data collection for various aspects. For example, at Datadyne, the place where I work, they have used mobile phone technologies to collect data about diseases and to actually roll out programs that can be able to facilitate faster reaction to such diseases. And actually we're making use of the potential of mobile phones. In Kenya, mobile phones was not actually we just started using mobile phones some years ago, but the growth is very, very impressive. And we have been able to actually work on polio vaccination programs at Datadyne using mobile phone applications, basically. And it has been key to a lot of other issues, and I think it is one of the major sectors that if key players invest into, can bring a lot of ICT development in Africa.
Ahmed, thank you very much for joining us on Regional Roundup.